What's going on, Fight Fans? It's your boy Ak.
And I'm Barak, the boxing bully.
And it's time to talk about the return of the Destroyer. That's right, Conor Benn, here on the opening bell. Now, Barak, I'm excited to see him back in the ring, and I know we have to touch on a few things that I don't really want to get too deep into as to why he was away for so long, but the way he trains, how aggressive he is even in training, and how confident he is inside the ring and wanting to get in the ring with all of the big names, that makes me excited for his return.
Yeah, I want to bring up why he was out, just for one reason.
Yeah, we know.
Normally, right, the failed drug test. Normally when that happens to a fighter, let's say Dillian White. Dillian White said he was innocent. I guess he was proven innocent, but he got depressed, gained a whole lot of weight, didn't look good in his next fight, in Saudi Arabia. Conor Benn, on the other hand, is in the gym. He's in the gym. He comes back ripped. He's come back in shape. It looks.
Wait,
like
I don't think he was never not ripped.
But I'm saying you don't get out of shape. You don't just go depressed and drown yourself in your sorrows. What you do is say, I'm innocent, so I'm going to stay in the gym, and that's what he did. So now that's in the past. I'm here now. I'm ready, and I think he's going to be ready. We just found out about this fight that he's on his card, and he's ready already.
Yeah, I just found out before I came here to start to do the show. I had no idea, but I think the reason why he's showing how in shape he is on Instagram, on social media, is because that level of innocence that he feels, he wants to prove to the world, hey, I'm comfortable here. I want you guys to see me because when the smoke clears, I'm going to prove to the world I'm innocent.
I'm still going to look the same. I'm still going to have the same performance and stuff like that. I get it.
Right. So, I think that's his approach, right, to this issue. Now, what are we going to see in this return? We know the fight that's on the horizon, right? The fight that people want to see. Chris Eubank Jr., especially after his performance against Liam Smith, that fight is back to where it was at the beginning, as big as it was. We know that Liam was able to stop Chris, but Chris came back and had a phenomenal performance with the Bomac team, the Terrence Bud corporate team, which they didn't get enough credit after that win by Chris Eubank Jr. I said it on Instagram, and I'm going to say it here. There should have been a better post-fight speech about the new team, considering the performance coming back from getting stopped from this guy and doing what you did. All right, I got that out of the way, right?
Whatever.
So that fight is as big as it was. I'm talking about Conor Benn versus Chris Eubank Jr. So we can't see no slip up here in this fight in Orlando, Florida. We need to see a dominating destroyer type of performance.
Right. Well, me personally, I want to give a shout out to Kevin Rooney because I think the matchmaking for this particular fight is brilliant, because you got this guy Rodolfo Orozco who's 6'1". So you're preparing yourself for Chris Eubank Jr. Somebody's tall, somebody lanky. Of course, he doesn't punch as hard, he's not as fast, but you're just getting ready for that type of fight after being out of the ring for 17 months.
Do you think that even though Conor is a guy that's always in shape, right? He looks in shape, he's never left the gym. Do you think that layoff still is going to affect him to some degree inside the ring?
That's yet to be seen. You never know with fighters, you know what I mean? Like, I always say that you really get prepared in the gym. So you shouldn't see no rust in reality, but it's something about the lights that make fighters, act different, and no headgear and smaller gloves. So you never really know until the night of the fight.
This whole issue that Conor has had in the last 17 months, do you think when the smoke clears, if eventually he somehow proves his innocence, right? Does this make his story bigger? Does it make him a bigger star?
100%, but at the end of the day, fans don't want to hear the truth. That's what I've noticed. So my best thing, I say, when you have an offense and it's your first offense, leave it in the past. Nobody's asking Luis Ortiz, and he got popped twice. Nobody's asking him anything, and he had 2 shots at the heavyweight title. 2 shots after popping twice. You understand? Povetkin had many shots after popping twice. You understand? So let's sweep it under the rug. Not sweep it under the rug.
We can't do that.
Leave it in the past and make sure all of these fighters get tested from here on out, whether you're innocent or not.
You can leave it in the past until it affects a potential fight, like as far as where the fight is going to be held. Because to my understanding, he still technically can't fight in the UK, and we know that that's where that fight needs to happen against Chris Eubank Jr. So you can't sweep it under the rug and forget about it. Things have to be clear in order for him to go back to his home country and fight in a stadium in front of 70, 80,000 people.
Well, the thing is, because of the technicality, his lawyer, and that's Ben's lawyer, showed that he passed a UCAD test during the same time period he failed the 2 VADA tests. So there was a loophole that said that you can't, ban him or whatever.
Right.
So that's supposedly why he got reinstated back in July. But like I say, how long are we going to talk about these things?
Right.
Like, if you're going to testing now, let's just fight.
Let's talk about boxing. Let's talk about the welterweight division, where it's at right now with obviously Terence Crawford possibly moving up to 154, it looks like, or he might stay at that weight to fight Spence one more time if Spence comes back down to 147. But the landscape of the welterweight division, they could use an extra player like Conor Benn, a superstar from another country that's starting to become a star here in America, especially in the boxing world because of his fighting style. I mean, there are guys out there like Boots Ennis, Virgil Ortiz still, he might have to go if he stays at 147. But there are other names, big names out there. Look, Adrian Broner's still around. We know we've been talking about Conor Benn and Adrian Broner. If for some reason we don't get Eubank Ben right away in the UK where it should happen, who's the next viable opponent for Conor Benn? I'm talking about a name that we want to see him against that's going to pose a real threat.
I mean, if he's willing, I say Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman is a great name. You got Ugas is a great name. I don't think we're going to see Conor Benn in there with Bud or Spence.
Right.
Those guys are far removed. They're going to either move up or whatever. They're not going to want
or
to
retire.
That does nothing for their legacy.
Right.
It's the up and coming guys now and the guys that still trying to get back on top, like a Keith Thurman.
Yeah, I mean, I like the Keith Thurman fight. Obviously, Ugas has a fight coming up, but if he's victorious, maybe that's something down the line. I would like to see Conor. Should he get past this guy? If he doesn't make the Eubank fight right away, I want to see him against one of those PBC welterweights.
Yeah, I think Rodolfo, he's a decent fighter. He's tall, he's rangy, he's long. He can throw a nice 1-2. One thing about him, he gets hit too much.
Yeah.
Rodolfo gets hit too much, and if you get hit by Conor the way he's been hitting, you're going to sleep.
All right, so it's safe to say we're probably going to see a knockout victory by Conor Benn. Is that what you're alluding to?
I don't make predictions, bro. I don't make predictions.
You just made one.
I just know he gets hit a little too much. That's all.
All right,
but we don't know how Conor's going to come back. How's he going to look on his comeback fight?
Well, we'll get all of those questions answered on Saturday in Orlando, Florida. That's our show for today. Peace and love. Stay safe. We're out of here.